And Disney decided to hire the most insufferable girl boss narcissist that exists on Earth, who hates Snow White.
Movie companies are going to look at her and they're going to say box office poison. And a lot of this is due to her behavior leading up to the film's release.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Tonight, we examine the drama around Rachel Zegler's casting and the reactions her remarks have sparked. When Disney announced her for this iconic role, optimism soon turned apprehension as Zegler voiced displeasure with elements of the 1937 original film. Interviews painted her as eager to overhaul the narrative, calling the prince irrelevant and traditional romance outdated. Online debates ignited, with fans wondering if she truly honored the film's cherished history. Tensions rose when she questioned the story's classic appeal, implying it needed modern ideals to remain relevant. Skeptics saw this as a direct challenge to Snow White's innocence and warmth. As social media chatter grew, worry spread that Zegler's stance could undermine the film's reception. Some felt modernization could be done gently, keeping the original spirit intact. Others insisted that discarding romance in friendly dwarfs was a harsh blow to the tale's essence. Zegler's repeated claims that the old version was archaic stoked further discord. Fans accused her of misunderstanding why people still adored that 1937 masterpiece.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
By the time official trailers appeared, many already harbored doubts. Social media brimmed with heated arguments, with defenders lauding Zegler's bravery, while critics warned of disastrous consequences. As audiences grew more polarized, box office predictions started to dip, hinting that controversy might outshine the film itself. Indeed, then came the infamous Instagram Live meltdown, transforming this ordeal into a full-blown spectacle. In a tense broadcast, Zegler addressed naysayers, labeling them resistant to needed updates. Her expressions were charged, and she dismissed the notion that romance or dwarfs remained essential. Viral clips showcase her irritation, galvanizing both her supporters and critics. Instead of quieting the uproar, her outburst turbocharged it. Many deemed her tone condescending and believed she was mocking those who loved the original's gentle magic. Zegler defended herself, insisting she was simply passionate about innovation. Yet the damage was done. Memes, reaction videos, and think pieces multiplied, firmly placing her meltdown at the core of the movie's identity. The production's marketing machinery struggled to spin events in a positive light. At the exact moment when unity was needed, this live session drove a wedge between Zegler and the film's target audience. Indeed, not surprisingly, the box office soon revealed the extent of the film's troubles. Despite lavish publicity, ticket sales lagged behind forecasts. Reports of half-empty theaters circulated, and social media swarmed with photos of deserted screenings. Critics surmised that many fans felt the adaptation had strayed too far from the cozy nostalgia that defines Disney's oldest classic. Instead of enticing families, the film's controversies drove them away. Some might have overlooked story alterations, but Zegler's combative tone had become the focal point. The meltdown overshadowed whatever new elements the film brought to the table, including any improved visuals or reimagined music. Where there could have been excitement, there was mistrust. Analysts pointed to a potent lesson. Tampering with property so deeply ingrained in cultural memory can backfire if handled dismissively. The struggles at the box office embodied that lesson with stark clarity. Yes, conflict over the revised storyline persisted. Classic motifs, such as Snow White's innocent romance, were pared down or eliminated, prompting debates about whether the film had lost its heart. Even the dwarfs were altered, stirring accusations of tokenism or outright disregard for tradition. Zegler's repeated jabs at these features sparked the idea that the movie felt ashamed of its lineage. Advocates of change believed it was time for a fiercely independent Snow White, free from antiquated tropes. Conversely, others argued that the original's hopefulness and compassion, including the prince's gentle presence, are timeless attributes worth retaining. Between these camps, the film found itself in a cultural crossfire. Viewers who sought a respectful evolution felt betrayed, and those who wanted radical progress feared it was too little, too late. This tension underscored a deeper issue. How can a classic tale evolve without discarding the very reasons it endured? Meanwhile, talk of industry fallout escalated. Insiders wonder whether Zegler's approach had created a cautionary tale for future remakes. Producers reportedly questioned whether her outspoken criticisms had alienated core fans vital for film success. Hollywood respects artistic freedom, but not at the cost of brand loyalty. Speculation arose that studios might avoid casting actors who appear to hold contempt for the material they are hired to interpret. Indeed, the label box office poison surfaced, though others defended Zegler, praising her devotion to modern ideals. Regardless, The Meltdown loomed large as a testament to how one viral moment can reshape production's fortunes. Where there could have been measured debate over reimagined themes, the conversation fixated on a fiery outburst. The entire fiasco illustrated the high stakes of big-budget reboots. In a business relying on goodwill, a star's public persona can make or break a film's commercial prospects. Yes, audiences felt deeply alienated, which further fueled the crisis. Posts and videos circulated, featuring fans confessing that they no longer wished to see the movie. They resented what they perceived as ridicule of their nostalgic ties to Snow White. While modernization doesn't necessarily spell disrespect, Zegler's scornful tone was widely interpreted as such, rather than invite fans into a new vision of the fairy tale.
The most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarves want to work.
The Meltdown transcended standard promotional hurdles, effectively alienating a broad demographic who might have otherwise given the adaptation a fair shot. By the time the film premiered, many had already decided their childhood memories were more comforting than this supposedly modern take on a beloved story. Indeed, behind the scenes, The Meltdown reportedly caused turmoil within the production. Instead of presenting a united front,
employment opportunity for dwarves.
There's not that many scripts that come down the pike.
No, there's 7 of them.
That has, and there's 7 dwarf.
Reshoots and plot tweaks were rumored, but those efforts did little to shift the public's narrative once The Meltdown took center stage. Crew members were left struggling to maintain morale, while external chatter painted the film as doomed. Attempts to pivot to lighter, celebratory content fell flat, as The Meltdown remained a recurring talking point in every discussion. At this juncture, online interest revolved less around creative merits.
To cast a Latino actress as Snow White makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What?
Once an actor's stance overshadows the movie, reversing that damage becomes an uphill battle. Absolutely. Cultural and political dimensions soon engulfed the Snow White remake. Commentators cast it as a proxy war between tradition and progressivism, each side claiming moral ground. Supporters praise the removal of archaic tropes.
Remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarves. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why
now,
would they
too?
get rid of the dwarves, though?
Magical
creatures. But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures.
People debated whether Disney was pandering to modern trends or blatantly disregarding timeless mythology. Further stoking discord were older social media posts from team members that some labeled overtly partisan. Consequently, The Meltdown was no fleeting event but the centerpiece of a larger clash between revision and reverence. The conversation eclipsed any neutral review of the remake's technical or artistic merits. As lines hardened,
Should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV, there's power of television, and to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there.
Remake. She became the face of a risky adaptation that fumbled its handling of cherished lore. Critics say The Meltdown exemplified poor fan engagement, especially given the devotion that classic Disney tales command. Even those who champion modern reboots want at least a nod to the original spirit. Whether Zegler's career recovers depends on future roles and a shift in tone.
Offensive, change the story, don't change the characters.
Social media's endless archives. Instead of celebrating fresh creativity, audiences watched in dismay as a revered fairy tale became mired in a star's fierce rebuke of its foundational elements. The Meltdown overshadowed any artistic achievements, feeding memes and think pieces that ridicule the entire project. In the world of big-budget entertainment, bridging old and new is precarious. The cautionary lesson here: remain mindful of fans' affection. Forever,